All right, let's dive into the rich and ancient world of Jewish traditions. For thousands of years, these practices have been the glue for identity, family, and community, weaving together this incredible spiritual heritage that's still so alive today.
You know, when we hear the words ancient traditions, it's easy to picture dusty relics in a museum, right? But that's just not the case here. Our sources describe these practices as the living heart of Judaism. They're not static. They're a dynamic, breathing part of the faith that connects the past to the present in a really powerful way.
So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the daily rhythms, then jump into the big festivals and sacred life milestones. After that, we'll explore the core values behind it all, and finally, wrap up with how these traditions fit into the world today.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the traditions that give Jewish life its regular, sacred pulse. These are the things that turn ordinary days into moments of real spiritual connection.
Right at the center of this rhythm is Shabbat. Now, just imagine this. In our hyper-connected 24/7 world, you have a mandatory 25-hour break. It's literally an island of rest, where work stops, phones are put away, and the focus is all on family, community, and just reconnecting. I mean, that's a pretty radical act of mindfulness in this day and age.
So how do you mark this sacred time? Well, it all kicks off with lighting candles to welcome Shabbat in. Then come the blessings, one over wine and another over a special braided bread called challah. These simple rituals completely transform a regular family dinner into something holy, something set apart from every other day of the week.
And it's not just about setting aside time. Another daily rhythm is found in what you eat. That's where kashrut, the Jewish dietary laws, comes in. And believe me, this is about so much more than what's for dinner. For those who observe it, keeping kosher is a form of spiritual discipline, a constant daily reminder of one's faith through the simple act of eating.
The rules are pretty specific. You've probably heard of the most well-known one, the strict separation of meat and dairy. We're talking separate utensils, separate pots, sometimes even separate sinks. That, along with rules about which animals you can and can't eat, creates a really intentional and mindful approach to food.
Okay, so we've got the daily pulse. Now let's zoom out to the big yearly celebrations. These festivals are powerful ways to remember key moments in Jewish history, and they all carry these profound themes of resilience, freedom, and hope.
First up, a story you might know, Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights. At its core, it's this amazing story of resilience. It celebrates the victory of a small group of Jewish rebels called the Maccabees, and the miracle that happened right after, where a single day's worth of oil for the temple's lamp somehow lasted for 8 whole days.
And that number, 8, is just so central to the whole celebration. For 8 nights, another candle is lit on the menorah, filling homes with more and more light. It's this beautiful visual symbol of hope, literally growing in the darkness.
Next up is Passover, or Pesach, which is one of the most significant festivals. This one retells the foundational story of Judaism, the Exodus, the journey from being slaves in Egypt to finally being free. It's an incredibly powerful and enduring story of liberation.
And here's what's so cool about it. The history isn't just something you read in a book. You actually taste it. The Passover Seder meal uses all these symbolic foods to bring the story to life. There's matzah, that flat, unleavened bread, which recalls how quickly they had to escape. There are bitter herbs to represent the bitterness of slavery. Every single item on that plate has a deep historical meaning.
All right, so we've covered the daily and the yearly cycles. Now let's get personal and look at the sacred milestones that mark a person's journey through life, connecting them to their community and to thousands of years of tradition.
And that journey starts just 8 days after birth for boys, with the Brit Milah, the covenant of circumcision. This is an ancient ritual dating all the way back to Abraham. I mean, think about that. It signifies entry into the covenant between God and the Jewish people, linking each new generation literally to the very beginning of the story.
Then, at age 13, a boy becomes a bar mitzvah, and for girls, it's a bat mitzvah. And this is way, way more than just a big party. It's the moment a young person becomes responsible for observing the commandments themselves. They're officially taking their place as an adult in the religious community.
And of course, Jewish weddings are just packed with incredible symbolism. There's the signing of a marriage contract, the ketubah. The ceremony itself happens under a canopy called the chuppah, which symbolizes the new home the couple is building. And then there's the famous breaking of a glass, which is a reminder that even in our happiest moments, we remember the world's fragility and its sorrows.
So, underneath all of these rituals and celebrations, what's the driving force? Well, it all comes down to these core ethical values. These aren't just abstract ideas, they are real commitments that are actively practiced. A perfect example is tzedakah. Now, we often hear it translated as charity, but that doesn't quite capture it. The Hebrew root of the word actually means justice or righteousness. And that one little linguistic detail, it changes everything. It reframes helping people in need from just an optional act of kindness to a fundamental moral obligation.
Exactly. It's not just a nice thing to do if you feel like it. As our sources put it, it's not optional, but a moral responsibility. This value is woven deep into the fabric of Jewish life, making fairness and compassion a core duty.
The spiritual year really builds up to the High Holy Days. It kicks off with Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, which is all about awakening and renewal, often symbolized by eating sweet things like apples dipped in honey. That whole introspective period then leads, 10 days later, to Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. This is the holiest day of the year, a very solemn time of fasting and prayer, focused on repentance and making things right. So, we've looked at all these incredible traditions, from the daily to the annual to the once in a lifetime. But the big question is, how does all this ancient stuff fit into our crazy, fast-paced modern world?
I mean, really, this is the key question, isn't it? In an age of constant change and distraction, what is the real, enduring value of these practices?
Well, for one, they provide this powerful sense of grounding and meaning. They help sustain a collective identity for a people scattered all across the globe in the diaspora. They carve out dedicated time to strengthen family and community bonds. And values like tzedakah continue to inspire a deep commitment to social justice. Really, they're like anchors in a turbulent world.
From the quiet light of a Shabbat candle to the loud celebration of a wedding, these traditions make sure that faith is something that is lived, not just something that is remembered. And that leaves us with a final question to think about. In our own lives, what are the traditions, big or small, that connect us to our past and help guide us toward the future? Thanks for joining me.